Last Friday night on Smackdown, brand new at the time, Raw Women's Champion Asuka was being presented with a brand new title, a championship design and a championship renaming. Instead of doing a championship swap like they did years ago, they would rebrand the titles completely and just clean up this whole mess of the Raw Women's Championship being on SmackDown and the SmackDown Women's Championship being on Raw, which made Asuka the brand new WWE Women's Champion. And previously on the show, former champion Bianca Belair had agreed to not come out, not to step on Asuka's crowning moment, and that she would wait for her obligatory rematch for the title against the Empress of Tomorrow. And out comes a returning 12-time women's champion, Charlotte Flair. And yes, it's 12 times, because I don't know why WWE does this, and I get it, it's their world, but at least for me, there's inconsistency in the fact that, okay, you count 2 NXT Women's Championship reigns for Charlotte Flair as world champion, but you don't count Finn Balor's, Kevin Owens, Seth freaking Rollins, Sami Zayn's NXT Championship runs and reigns on the main roster. So there's an inconsistency right there. One cannot go without the other, so until they fix that, to me, Charlotte Flair is only a 12-time world champion. Out comes Charlotte Flair, and obviously, Charlotte Flair is once again thrust into a world championship program. Which leads me to my next question. Why is creative in WWE so shallow that they can't figure out stories, specifically for their female superstars, that don't involve the women's title? Specifically for Charlotte Flair. It always happens with Charlotte Flair. Again, it's part of her pedigree. She's basically John Cena. John Cena always came back, always challenges for the world title. He and Charlotte Flair as well, they have that pedigree. They have those accomplishments, that history. They definitely deserve and warrant to be in that position every single time. And if you ask me, I would love to see Charlotte Flair and Asuka go at it one-on-one again and again and again. Those two women are just that damn good inside that squared circle. But why can't WWE Creative figure out a story for Charlotte Flair to come back with that doesn't involve the women's title? Because at this point in time, at this point in her career, the only story that I can recall that Charlotte Flair was a part of that did not involve a women's world title was about 3 to 4 years ago on the road to SummerSlam against Trish Stratus. That's it. Everything else has always involved the women's world championship, and that is a problem. Because you got fans clamoring for a mid-card title in the women's division. And I've always been against it because creative in WWE, specifically for the women's, and we've seen this throughout the entire year, they've always been very weak stories. They can't figure out how to pit 2 female superstars against each other without it being for a championship. They can't figure that out for shit. The one story going on right now, it's Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. That's it. Before that, I can't even remember what kind of story was going on that didn't involve a title in dispute that led to a pay-per-view match. That is ridiculous. Because there is no justification, there is no excuse as to why they can't come up with stories for these women who are not involved in the title picture but can still go and can still have pay-per-view matches just like they do with the men's. So that leads me to believe that they just don't want to. That leads me to believe that they would just want to have the women involved in title matches, and that is it. No need for anything else, which is unfortunate. But back to the point at hand. Charlotte Flair, again, 12-time women's champion. The only feud in her entire career, her entire WWE tenure, that didn't involve a title was against Trish Stratus. That speaks volume. That speaks volumes to WWE's creative, lack of creative for her. Because I've always tried to talk about how, her gimmick isn't I'm the champion or I'm the woman or I'm the face of the WWE's women's division. That's not her gimmick. But now, if that's all creative has for her at this point in time, at this point in her career, where she doesn't need to be in the women's title picture, where she doesn't need to be women's champion to be relevant, that is how big of a superstar Charlotte Flair is, then I don't know what else to say. Charlotte Flair is one of the best in-ring wise. No doubt about that. Best in the world. No doubt about that. Nobody can deny that. And to be honest, if you put her against the Zoe Starks or someone, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, somebody that she can elevate, she can definitely elevate more female superstars into the main event scene. Hell, why not have a Liv Morgan return, and they can go at it. Charlotte Flair and Liv Morgan with no title on the line, just respect, just a brand spanking new feud, new rivalry that I would be interested as hell. And I'm sure a lot of fans would too. But you're using the title and the women's division as a crutch for Charlotte Flair to keep getting into the title picture. Again, lack of creative on WWE's part. But in the meantime, like I said, I'm looking forward to Charlotte Flair versus Asuka, which is most likely going to take place at Money in the Bank. I'm looking forward to the ESC of WWE, Bianca Belair. Eventually, it seems that she's turning heel. And with that, I'm looking forward to the most likely triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship at SummerSlam in Detroit, Michigan. Asuka versus Charlotte Flair versus Bianca Belair. All of that, in-ring wise, is something to get excited about. But the fact of the matter is, Charlotte Flair, as a character, her entire career, what she's done, doesn't need the Women's Championship. She doesn't need to be involved in the title picture. And her being involved in the title picture and her returning to that exact same place every single time she makes a return or every single time she's a part of WWE TV is just showing us how lacking WWE's creative is when it comes to booking the women's division. And it has been going on for almost 6 months at this point, at least on this year at all. At all. In 2023. It's been a lackluster year for stories in the women's division in 2023. So WWE, I'm hoping they fix it. It doesn't seem like they will. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. In the meantime, tune in later on tonight to Fox for another episode of Friday Night Smackdown. I believe we have Rampage tonight as well. And tomorrow night we have the debut of AEW's Saturday Night Collision. So tons of wrestling coming up for us during the weekend. With that said, I'm Alexis Carrillo. This has been Wrestling Talk. And I'll see you next time.